really excited to be here today with Tori Weyers. Now, Tori is going to be our resident artist for this season, and she's going to be teaching us all about how to use a sketchbook and the different ways that a sketchbook can be useful to us. Now, Tori, you are a super prolific sketchbook artist, and the thing that I love about all your sketchbooks is they're so different, from collage and, you know, writing and that kind of stuff to simple black and white sketching, things that have a lot of color, different sizes, different shapes, different papers. I mean, really, a sketchbook can be anything that you want it to be.
It definitely can. It's fun to make your own as well.
It is, and today I know that we're focusing on words and something called automatic writing, and I don't know what that means, so will you explain it?
Sure. So automatic writing is kind of like what your phone does when you type a word and then it guesses at what you're trying to type next, except for all happening in your brain. So I like to start some of my sketchbook pages with automatic writing, which I'm going to show you and kind of say out loud. Usually I do it quietly, but just so you can kind of see the process.
Well, this is so perfect, too, for our theme for the season about just like exploring mediums and everyday things, you know what I mean? Because the words that are filtering through your head, what could be more everyday than that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really adds a lot of kind of different inspiration for your work.
Cool. So you really are just letting your brain go. So I'm not gonna make you talk while you're doing it.
I'm gonna talk so you can see what's going on. Otherwise you'd be like, how did she come up with that? So I'm actually gonna I'm looking here and there's a word moment up here. So I'm gonna start with the word moment.
Okay.
So moment, and sometimes I write it where you really can't read it, but I know what it says, so that's also an option. Moments are fleeting and joy is now. So
just something you thought of in this moment.
Just something I thought of in this moment. So looking at this and taking some of the words as keywords like moments and joy. Joy makes me think of really happy, bright colors. So I might come in, put a little water here because I'm going to use some acrylic ink and start to really spread that around. These are really expressive, so I'm going to even go outside and break some boundaries here.
Cool. And you're obviously using a waterproof pen. And so acrylic ink is essentially acrylic paint in a really thin, watery form, right?
Yes.
But could you use watercolor or gouache or anything?
Anything, yeah. So I'm using some traditional acrylic paint here, and then I'm looking for joyful colors as well, just because I have that word in there. And then as you can see, these marks also kind of spring to life, texture and shape, and allowing your page really to just come to life. So
you're letting the text kind of inform what it is that you're doing, so that because you wrote about joy and you wrote about those things, so that's the reason you picked those colors. So you sort of don't know what you're going to do until the automatic writing comes out, and then you have to embrace it. Right. That does feel joyful to me, all those little doodly dots.
Yeah, it really starts to kind of become an expression of its own. And then as you kind of let your medium play and mix together, you can also look at some of the lines you put down. And
I like your fancy art supplies, like a ballpoint pen. I think people forget that we have so many supplies around the house that we can use. You don't need to go to an art store and spend $1 bajillion.
It's so true. And I love how different mediums really start to create their own expression. So just a ballpoint pen along with acrylic paint and ink can really bring a page to life.
Super cool. So now I know you've done a whole bunch of these, and do you find that you do a tiny little sketch like this and that it later informs other work?
Yeah, I like to do a bunch of little ones because you can do them quickly and kind of get a lot of expression, and look how different the colors and the marks are in all of those. It really just starts to fill up your pages with inspiration.
They're almost just like thumbnail sketches for you to pick up and use later, which is super cool. Now, a lot of these seem, you know, very sort of happy to me when I look at them. They seem very excited, except I do notice in the little book, that one has a little sort of more darker, almost like green tones and stuff like that. Can you just tell us a little bit about that piece?
Sure. So this one really is about kind of understanding where I am now. It's a little bit darker saying, so it's talking about a moment you can't handle what's happening. And so it's a little more chaotic, a little darker colors, but still just a lot of expressive lines. And
I love that you have some of these natural elements in here growing, which I feel like are clearly an influence from our last season where we talked a lot about nature and nature elements.
Yeah.
You know, a sketchbook really is a place where everything comes full circle, all the parts of your life, all the little things that are percolating around your head. I love this, and I'm looking forward to a season full of fantastic inspiration for our sketchbooks. Thank you, Tori. And we will be right back.